Forward for the panel discussion, and for that I would like to invite on stage the moderator of the panel, Mr. Rajiv Goyal, President from Vivani Consulting Private Limited. Everyone give it applause. Next, I would like to call the panelist, Mr. Swapnadeep Banerjee, Senior Technical Consultant from Trilliant Network India Private Limited. Next, I would like to call on stage Mr. Shurjeel Ghanni Lalla, SECEO, IT, KPDCL, Patent in Smart Metering from Kasmir Power Distribution Corporation Limited. Next, I would like to call on stage Mr. Madan Mohan Chakraborty, CEO and Managing Director from Iskraemeco, India. Next, I would like to call on stage Sri Ramakrishna Annavazala, Director from Eficaa Ensmart Solution Private Limited. Now I am handing over the mic to the moderator, Mr. Rajiv Goyal.
All the industry colleagues and the panelists on the dais. HES, one of the critical product in the entire value chain of the smart metering. If I can remember, in 2001, we had, in our Noida Power Company, we had some 5 modems from Slumberger taking data online, and it was just kind of, POC. Thereafter, a lot of things have happened in the data acquisition system in the metering industry, and incidentally, our metering industry in India is very highly innovative across the world, and the kind of products which we have, probably in the world we don't have. If we talk about the HES, in perspective of the DISCOMs, in perspective of the industry, they rightly said by Mr. S.E. Garg that this is a product which can be built up by a lot of companies, but somehow we are stuck up with the existing experiences and other kind of issues. Trilliant is one of the most acknowledged name in this industry, and if we start from the Trilliant, they can share their journey, how they were able to bring this kind of product, and what kind of challenges they had faced, and what kind of innovations they are going to bring into the system, because these systems, once the AMISP comes, these are going to remain in system for almost 7 to 8 years, 10 years kind of thing, and it will be a long terms, so where this product has to be performed.
Thank you for the nice introduction, sir. Thank you very much. Trilliant has got its journey, and we have had AMI 1.0 to AMI 2.0 transformation. That is what we have done. And so we believe in, and this I was speaking yesterday as well, we believe in a heterogeneous solution. We don't believe that, any connectivity is one of the key factors of connecting the meters to the AMI system, the software system. And we see HES and the other likes, the upstream systems like the MDM and all, as a service. And we believe the HES is a service. And this helps us two ways. This helps us to shorten the time to the market, how we deploy our product. We containerize it. We are using microprocessors a lot. That is how we segregate, or we make each particular functionality as a module, and that's how we do it. And we keep it common across all the platforms of communication, be it RF, be it cellular. So we have this concept of a unified driver, and this driver is basically based on what the standards we have in India, that is IS 15959. And the communication means, standards on IS 16444. This is how we, do. And going forward, we have, the That is being talking about the software, the HES as a software, and how we are trying to make it more modular and make it more a system where we can be more robust, we can be more open to all the functionalities which are coming. The new amendments appends in the government standards that are also being incorporated, and this will be a sort of a very good game changer for the market. When we talk about the solutions of communication, that is something which is very important for the HES. HES is closely, it very much depends on the communication channels. And that communication channel cannot be only one, as I said, heterogeneous. So we have a multi-tiered RF communication also with us. So where we don't only, use 2.4, the neighborhood area network, but we also use 5.8 gigahertz wide area network, where the backhaul can be on the RF totally. Yeah, you can have the backhaul on optics, or means optical fiber. You can have the backhaul on cellular, the existing cellular solutions. That is there. And we can also have the WAN solution. Why are we looking into this solution, which is like, coming to the WAN solution all? Because what we feel is HES should be diversifying itself. Diversifying in the sense that, it should be not only the energy meters, but it is the gas meters, the water meters. Going forward, it can be using for electrical lighting. The street light solution can be a part of HES with the help of the communication that we have. And it can go, to cater something beyond AMI. Let me say the rural Wi-Fi or the rural broadband access. These things can be, this communication technology can ride on this, what HES is providing. And this is how we are seeing the evolution of HES, as in the say. The traditional things of HES, they go on, but this is the way we are thinking about it. We are thinking about having a multi-tiered RF solution, wherein you have a cellular as well. So you have a cellular, you have a multi-tiered RF, where you have a huge broadband to, cater to all these use cases. And use cases is what, defines going forward. This is what we think, sir.
Very encouraging thing, and the bright future you have shown for this. And definitely, yes, HES can work on multiple utilities, and we can scalable to and connect, because even a single house is having multiple utilities. So why, if we can combine these services, so naturally the cost will also come down. So, so like Mr. Madan, regarding this challenges on the safety and security of the system which we are building in the HES, and how we can actually take care of the data validations so that any challenges in the utility should not come up. So those kind of things, if you can share, it will be great useful for us.
Yes, sir. Well, when you're talking about the data security, talking about just HES in isolation will be a mistake, okay? Because it is not the HES, but it can be meter data management, it can be the utility billing system, it can be the meter itself, it can be the communications. So let me come back. When you're talking about the security, I'll just first talk about the security of the utility, and then about the data security, that will probably help us. In fact, I take from what my previous speaker was saying, when you're talking about the HES, and I agree with Swapnil. The way I think HES should be done, any meter from any make of any technology should be able to integrate immediately. That is the requirement of the utility. So open source or closed source or proprietary, whatever you say, but that has to happen. Your Microsoft Office should not be dependent on the computer that you buy. And the similar thing that should be also happen on northward. That means the same HES should be able to get connected with any MDM system. And in absence of MDM, sometimes for smaller scale, MDM is not needed. that can directly go to the billing system. And that should be the thing, and that is the future. When I'm talking about the HES, I should take care of the customer's interest, and this is what the customers want. How to do that? Okay, now when you're talking about the security and other things, what is HES? It is basically supposedly a transference system where you get the data and you transmit the data. You may or may not have some intelligence in that. So suddenly the data will not get leaked unless it is either pushed from the meter side or from the MDM side. So for per se, when you talk about the data security, talking about the HES is not the right thing, I believe, right now to discuss about. But if you can take care of the overall network security, your HES is as secure as it is. I hope, I try to give you the answer that HES is not that important from data security point of view, but how an HES should be. The third thing, of course, it should be any meter, water, but in future, we have forgotten the red letter box in our house, right? We don't get letters. Our smart meters is going to be the digital letter box. That is the only device which is not connected to an individual. Your mobile, any electronic device you talk about, your mobile or anything, it's connected to your person, Aadhaar, PAN, name, Meter is the only thing that is connected to an address. So you move, the meter remains, the house remains. Now, those who can understand what is the value of this entire thing. So it will become the digital letterbox or every data. You can also greet your daughter in New York, just hi, put it to the customer interface, it scans, and because nowadays nobody reads WhatsApp also sometimes, right? Okay, forget mails. So when you enter to the house and you see your, in the screen, good morning, or don't forget this medicine, you feel elated. And I think with house to house, letter to letter, digital letterbox concept, your HES will become something like that. It will become a vehicle which will take care of all these things that I talked about. Thank you.
So like in DISCOMs, we see this smart meter is another step in the metering innovation. And definitely there are certain problems in the, the meter installation side also. And definitely the telecoms are putting a lot of challenges for data communication. I can give you one example, like I had gone somewhere around in 2005 for just checking for the meter readings in this, what we call that market, Lalla, Lajpat Rai market somewhere in front of the Red Fort. And what I really saw that some 60-70 meters were placed. And when I asked that meter reader, how you take these meter readings? These are at almost 10 feet above. And one cannot even see the meter and you are taking the meter readings. He said, sir, I just fill up and God knows whose bill is paying by whom. So these were the situations. And practically this happens in every DISCOM that you may find even the meter installed in the toilets also, because the houses are somewhere 20, 25 meter, 30 meter kind of spaces are there. So one is that difficulties come into when we go and change the meters. So mapping and all those kind of things becomes very difficult. So how in the smart metering phase, these legacies kind of thing we are going to cover into our system, because a lot of changes are required at the end of the contractors, at the end of the employees, at the end of our billing systems. So this is something which we can hear from Mr. Shurjeel, because he has put up certain meters and he must have by this time know about these challenges.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the question, Rajiv. Okay, this has actually two aspects. Okay, let's see where from we started actually. We started not from scratch. Okay, so there was already some infrastructure in place because of RAPDRP scheme, which sir also said that there were many learnings from RAPDRP scheme. So we already had a billing system in place and it worked for about 8 to 10 years. Not much of a, without much of an upgrade. Okay. Then now we are into an era of switching over to the smart metering. Okay. So now other things are coming up. Now HES is coming and the old billing engine is not actually up to mark to come to this level and receive the smart meter. Okay, so what we have done is we have somehow upgraded our billing systems and made it ready for the new HES. And this has been done by some utility. UP also has recently upgraded the billing engine. Okay, so the problem is that this has complicated the system overall. Sir was telling about a system where any MDM, any HES, free flow of data should be there. But I believe that will be a very ideal system, which we may not achieve. Okay, so what we have to do currently is that make it somehow compatible with a vision for 10 years, what we are actually expecting from the service industry and the TKCs, that they have to support it for next 10 years. This is where the problem started, that our old systems and new systems, getting them together to talk and handle the billing. This is one aspect. The other aspect is the communication side. Okay, so we have now in the first phase, we actually chalked out some or suggested what should be the communication technology used in our implementation. Those were some initial phases of smart metering. Now we have gone technology agnostic in the communication side. Okay, so we leave it to the TKC, you survey the area, you find what technology is best, design the system. I'm only concerned about the SLAs. Okay, again, second problem comes here, particularly for our DISCOM. So this 10-year period actually means that he has to maintain the meters everywhere, and we get reports of damage in meters, non-functional meters in the areas which have already been completed and are on track for providing the readings and the billings. So there are situations where we need to install a meter on demand in some particular place. It's like a fill in the blanks in some places where maybe our meter manufacturer has closed the operations, and that is a fact. They have closed the operations in India, and now we need to fill those points where the meter is dysfunctional or it has got damaged. So how do I tackle that problem? So what I suggest in the future smart phase, because we have already one live RFP of about 7 lakh smart meters, and REC PDCL is our partner in that. So what we have suggested that, okay, we will go for technology agnostic communication technology, but at the same time we need to keep a minimum mandatory 10%, which may be GPRS, IoT-based smart meters, which can actually work individually. So I hope that answers.
Sir, regarding that like bidding part, and we are all saying that at the end of the day, multiple HES, multiple MDM, multiple meter, that kind of integration is going to happen. Sooner or later, the people will come and, that kind of preferences of that the large parties are playing into this arena, so that may not remain system. So like for the bidding kind of thing, when we are giving the entire system to the AMI-SP, is it not like the way you are saying that for the communication you are allowing them to use their own technology? So for that purpose, maybe for using this like for the HES kind of thing or the MDM kind of thing, so we give only them the functionality that they have to deliver that functionality at the implementation stage, at the test case, and instead of asking them the previous experiences, because what will happen actually that when the new startups are coming up, and the wonderful startups are, they are doing wonderful work, but they don't have the previous experiences. So to promote that kind of scenario in our system, if we allow AMI-SP to meet our requirements of the data and the analysis, etc., and instead of going into that for all the equipments or for all the components, they should have the previous experiences of some thousand, some lakhs. So is it possible for that?
We have to come back to the basics here. What is the objective? What is my objective as a DISCOM? My objective is that my ATC losses are high and they need to be brought down. within a span of time which is very reasonable, and economically I should turn my discom into a very feasible business. Okay. So, at the same time, I want to ensure that the work which is very important, not only for my power sector as well as my state and UT as well as the country in general. So, lot of as sir mentioned about the amount of loss the discoms are suffering, and the country in general is suffering because of. So my objective is getting those ATC losses down, and at the same time ensure that my services, the service bracket of my consumer improves a lot. The customer care improves, the billing improves, and customer engagement as well. So, in order to ensure that, I have to set a benchmark. It is mandatory for me, both logically as well as in the interests of the discom. I have to set some benchmarks. So, I think that at this stage, since we are already embarked on this journey of smart metering, we cannot compromise regarding the basic requirements in choosing an AMI-SP.
Definitely, maybe in the learning curve, when the experiences or the confidence will come up, probably in the future, we may have that kind of allowing AMISP to bring their own systems and without showing the previous experiences of their different components, maybe like that.
And collaborations are working, associations are working, and together the companies join hands, and they are doing a good job, I think, that way.
Point here, sir, is what I'm having is that HES has to be the source of truth. If we are looking at the AMI solution as a such, HES is the source of truth. You cannot actually, try to build in the logics and the rules on the HES itself. It should be tightly coupled with some other MDM. Agreed to that point, but HES should not be, it should not be tampered with the data, whatever it is coming in. It should be. It is, as Madan sir was explaining, it is about gathering and transferring the data. That's it. That's what we are doing it. Yeah, going forward, how we are secure, transforming that data, or we are giving that, or we should actually think about real-time transformation of the data. Like, there are many solutions out there. How do we do it? There is, technologies are available. There can be a Kafka client is there. The clients are there which consume lot of data per second. It's there. So, we can explore that solution, which will be somewhat a real time, and consuming the upstream party like MDM or any system. It can actually, gather that data very nicely, and it can represent in its own form. But it should not do it one on the HES.
Agree with you, sir, that HES is a true reflection of the metadata, and with you, sir, it is just passing on system to the MDM, where the actual data validation takes place, and which sets the base for the billing. Okay. But at the same time, I as a discom operator would request the industry that HES has got much more information than just the meter read. Okay, so it's diagnostics, it's various reports, meter health, DCU health, and depending on the technology used, so meter tamper, etc. As in the management of discom, I will not be interested in so much of data present in HES. So that way I would require some crisp report from HES or the vendor who is handling the HES, so that it comes to me and gives me some idea where to actually concentrate and do the course correction in smart meter implementation.
No, quite rightly said, I told you sometimes the requirement of the discom is to get it done even without the MDM. As you said, if you get whatever you want through your hidden system and then it goes directly to your billing system, then that's an ideal situation. But beyond a certain limit, maybe you need a second layer of MDM where you need to really synthesize the data, and with the data coming in, you need to mine the data. In fact, two of the utilities in India, they are working without MDM, and hidden system is directly connected to the billing system, and we are associated with them because we know the thing. And another utility, they have a very big plan of a deployment, but somehow the MDM is not yet in place. Okay, but that has not stopped the billing for them. In fact, they are using our hidden system, and they are raising the bills even without the MDM as a stopgap arrangement. So these are possible. It is possible, and it should happen like that. Yeah.
So, Dr. Ramakrishna sir, you are designing the systems and you have a vast experience into firmwares and all that. So, sir, there are 2-3 questions to you. One is that, do we see in the time to come that meter is directly communicating with the MDM? That's the one. The second is that, from the DISCOM perspective, if we see the smart metering, it's not only that it will work as a system to pre-collect the money or to reduce the losses, because for detection of losses there are many other things which are to be there. Another big factor is that with the smart metering we can really forecast our power demand, and we can plan the power purchases in a manner that we have minimum wastage of our power procured. One. Two, the outages, like in today's system where the power is outages and the customer comes back and he says that my power is not available. So when we are having that kind of smart system, so the system should definitely take a feedback kind of thing, and it should alert the kind of control room and tell them that this area is not having the power and you should go and work on that. So your experience and your forecast.
Sure. You can speak. Yeah. Very good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. So it's a quite lengthy questions. Please do correct me in between. I am in the same order or not. Okay. The first question was with regards to, yes, can we do away with the HES, the layer that we have, in times to come? I believe yes. Okay. So what does the HES do as of now? It collects, collates, and then transmits it back to the MDMS. Okay. So that is one aspect of it. Next is the configurations, the assets, and all that details are also being captured by the HES, so that it helps in asset management and everything. But all these things happened on the back end. I mean, with regards to the downstream applications which are being pushed into the MDMS servers. And why we are putting it into multiple servers? So that the downtime of a query is minimal. So that's the intent of doing. I mean, there are several ways of doing it. If you have tons and tons of data to search it out, whether through binary search or through any other search, it takes time to sift to the millions of data which is being pumped in from n number of IoT devices. So now, if we look at now the next question, I hope that I have answered that question. Yes, in time to come, I think we might do away with the HES. The MDMS might handle the whole thing, sir.
My second question was that how like this entire AMI-SP system can help utilities in getting those inputs from the meter on the real-time basis, that on proactively basis they can actually control the outages and they can forecast the power demand going to come into the system.
So what has happened now is when we see the initial smart grid pilot projects, the AMR projects, to now the present era where the communication backbone with regards to the infrastructure which has been laid down, whether through the fiber optic or the internet availability, and then the technology in the meters as it is, has evolved and come to a stage where it is stabilized. And next thing is that the standardization across, whether it is on the meter from the DLMS perspective, we are adhering to that. Okay, now next one is the most important aspect is between the HES and the MDMS, we have got a SIM. Okay, the SIM is the CIM, so common information model. So this particular thing of IEC 61968-9, actually it gives you all the information that it has to be there in place. So as of now, what has happened is that different meter players had different way of approaching those stacks of OBS codes or with regards to DLMS and having proprietary code. Now, as the REC, RDSS scheme and everything has evolved, where they have asked for multiple NIC cards to be integrated and whether they can do with multiple meters to communicate and all that. So these aspects or these challenges, I think they have overcome. Okay, but as we go along, why the SIM is going to play an essential part? Because in the smart grid rollout, I am not talking only smart meters. Okay, in the grid rollout, you would have the automation devices which will play a major role. Okay, so the automation devices like you have the RMUs, text analyzers, FPIs and all those aspects. So what will happen is that you will require a real-time information, and that information should be shipped properly, and then in time the action should be taken. Then one more good point what he has raised, Rajiv ji. So whatever you raised with regards to whether the customer is going to get a feedback of whether the meter is function or the end devices. Let's even talk about the end devices. Yes, because the feedback mechanism has already been there, but those were not being reflected in our systems. But I think soon in the RDSS scheme and in the testing, they are looking for that aspect of it. Plus, to add to that particular thing, even the CMNS, that's called the Common Messaging Notification System. That means any customer or end client, he raises a what's it called, system or his current supply is disrupted. So whether through WhatsApp, whether through normal messaging or whether any of the social media, okay. So that also gets translated into an alert or a mechanism into the system. And then the MNOC actually helps to look into those aspects, and very proactively they look into that. I mean the reaction time, because the alerts and everything keep popping up on the GIS system. If the survey, the consumer profiling, I would even take one particular instance wherein we had profiled a particular consumer saying that he has only 2 rooms, so he might be using hardly anything. But every time he used to raise a complaint saying that since you have put the meter, it's always interrupting my power supply. Then we did an in-depth research, what has happened. Then we found out he has a small lathe machine which is working in another room. So that definitely consumes or guzzles a lot of power. So the what's it called, the information through the consumer profiling or the indexing, we get a lot of information, but we need to be very dynamic enough to understand that why things are not in control. So that's a major aspect of it. Yes sir, anything else? Thank you.
So thank you, sir, for your insight. I understand that with the smart meter putting up into system, probably consumer profiling is one of the area we may look into starting up at the time of meter installation. So Swapnadeep ji, I have 2 questions from you. One is that like HES is collecting the data from the meters. Similarly, the RTUs are collecting the data from the feeders. Now, how we can integrate these 2 systems which can actually give a lot of analysis and real-time inputs to the management of the distribution or the distribution system for their, again, the outage management, the feeder management, the supply management, the looking into which time they should actually, the tariff should be, placed. So those kind of things, or whether the artificial intelligence is going to be put into that system to, again, with the data, we can have the integration with the another systems also, then only we can have the real output for the discoms. So one is that part. The second part is that the data, because today 15 minutes data block is there required for the open access. Tomorrow, or for the grid. tomorrow it is quite possible that this data latency may be decreased to the 5 minutes. So a lot of data will start, putting into the system. So definitely this data is stored in somewhere in the cloud, and that's, data center is also using the lot of energy. So how your firmwares or the designs will help to reduce those, energy requirements at the, data centers? So these are the two questions for me.
Thank you, Rajiv ji, for giving two very interesting questions actually. And I would take the second one first, and I would reference what Shurjeel ji had said, that data is there, but it should be coming crisp, and it should be very crisp coming to the HES. And why it should be? Because we are putting unnecessarily. You need to know that this is a software. It has got resources. There are huge resources which are given to achieve the, as it is, very strict SLAs of 95% within 8 hours and 99.9% within 24 hours. This is what the SLA structure is. And looking into this, and if you, 15 minutes interval data in itself, if we look at it, that is 24 hours, we are having 96 profilers. So 96 profile data, and if we go down to the register level, we don't know, 729 or something like that. So each line item is basically a line in the database. To this point, we had come that we had to bring in big data into the picture. The big data of how to manage this data means, going to the level of having a clob and blob, and then means showing this one. So this is where we are trying to achieve it. 15 minutes, what's achievable? It is still achievable. We are storing it. We are able to successfully gather this 15 minutes data. But if we go to 5 minutes, what will happen is, that is another story, and we will come to that part. But yeah, this data is somewhere also important. Why? Because this will lead to your first question, that how we will go to use the other systems apart from AMI, the outage management system, the demand integration, the demand reset, and the demand management system. All these things, these data are a basis of all the subsystems, I would say, and these needs to be coupled with HES. As I said in the first, that HES is being a source of truth for all this data which is coming in. But it is not only MDM which is integrating with the HES. It should be the OUM, it should be the DMS, and all the systems which are coming in, they should be integrating with the HES to have a very unified AMI solution, wherein a customer is in the end, he is benefited, I would say. He is the one who is getting the most out of it. And we can obviously, we can go beyond and think about it. This is what it is.
So I would like to add something. So yes, there are requirements where they want at 1 minute interval or 5 minutes interval or 15 to half an hour. But what is the necessity? A gap analysis has to be made with regards to critical infrastructure. What are we giving? Will that really be of value that we are adding, or we are unnecessarily taking so much tons of loads of data? But definitely with regards to the big data with the AI, I think we can give a lot of solutions, and a lot of people are working towards that, whether to predict or even proactively, futuristically tell that whether there will be an outage, plus or if suppose the load is increasing in one area, whether the feedback can be given through another feeder line. So all these aspects are being slowly, they are being tested as we talk in different discoms and everything. Plus also with regards to the vegetation, then the poles falling from cyclonic area and all these aspects. So AI definitely is playing a big
About this AI means, I would like to make a use case which we are trying to explore, this AI. Let's see, I was talking to you about the SLA management, right? And the SLA is very much needed. But what happens when you face outages, like the particular consumer is facing outage every day at night 2 to 3, let's say. So there is where we want to bring in the AI. Why unnecessarily go and hit that particular meter at that particular time when he is not even responding? Why to use the bandwidth? So don't use it. Keep it in your memory that, yeah, that guy may be out. He may not be, means, now he is not on. So instead of going to that, I will go to some other location. I will try to find it. Yes, GIS plays an important role over here. The feedback from OUM plays an important role over here. But this is how we are trying to gauge it. This is how we are trying to meet the SLAs. That we are trying to use the AI and ML. The machine learning also should come into the picture with the AI, and then we are trying to have this one.
Shurjeel sir, last question to you from the DISCOM perspective. Like all these things are happening when in a system of so many consumers, and where it's not that the only technology may be issue, maybe the consumer may be an issue. Have you got any kind of comparison before the smart meter and the post smart meter, that the consumers are actually able to, their electricity consumption has gone down or not, or the billing percentage, or I should say that billing percentage, the more consumers are able to bill, or the consumers getting the wrong bills, so that number have come down. So that consumer perspective, so have you done any kind of analysis in your system, sir?
Thanks for the question, Rajiv. Yes, of course, there is a regular impact analysis being done in our DISCOM, and about almost every month, but the major report is shared after every 3 months, every quarter. The impact analysis of the smart meters is being done. So what we have found is that although we have billing issues, I will list the billing issues as well, but in general, what we found is that the pain areas like the billing efficiency, definitely it has gone up, and to some 18 to around 13% we have gained in billing efficiency depending on the areas and the feeders. Then the second thing is the energy consumption, because of power pilferage. There may be huge consumption in some areas, and that has gone down actually. The energy consumption has reduced, and which has actually improved the ATC losses. So it serves as an energy conservation measure as well, and this has made power available to be served in some other area as well. So power reliability and availability has also increased. But at the same time, the impact analysis also lists out some problems which we face, like wrong tagging of consumers is there. That also comes in the impact analysis, missing bills, and particularly HES, we have some problems like the clock jump is there, which we have recently, and around only a very fractional percentage, about 0.2% in the billing we have noticed. So clearly the objective and this track, putting everything on track, it is giving some results, although maybe slowly, because we are moving from a very old legacy system and now making the consumer pay regular monthly bills, otherwise he will face the disconnection. So getting out from that system and now moving to this track, definitely impact is there, but maybe not the desired level, but it is moving on.
Thank you. Just a suggestion kind of thing, like Dr. Garg was also talking about that. The losses are definitely coming down wherever the smart meters are being put up. So, many utilities have, given that impact analysis to their regulators also, and some of the things are in the public domain also. So when the losses are reducing, so maybe this kind of project can be taken into the, the registration for the carbon trading mechanism also. So that may be one thought. Second, sir, like you were saying that 5-minute data, why it is required. Sir, actually this data is required for the grid stability. And what is happening that we are working for 15 minutes data for quite a long time. And the more and more from the consumer side we are getting connected. So with 5-minute data, like lots of generators, and now the DSM mechanism have changed. So this data is going to, bring a lot of stability to the grid. So that's kind of, so with that, we have, if anything to be said by the panelists. So.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add to that. Actually, the demand response programs of the discoms, actually, this particular thing will facilitate. But how much? I mean, 5 minutes data or 15 minutes data at that interval should we take? So it's a call that every discom definitely would do the due diligence to come back to tell us that yes, this is essential in so and so feeders, we do require it. So that's where I think so.
Madan sir, anything you want to say?
On this, I think, if I say something, it will be just addition to the common thing. So I think it's fine, I agree with that, yeah.
See, sir said about usage of HES beyond the billing. So that is a very interesting thing. Actually, the SCADA systems have already been placed in about 60 cities across the country. And we too have got 2 cities, Srinagar and Jammu, having SCADA systems. Okay, at that time, the smart metering concept was not there, and now the smart metering concept has gone. And there is a need now, we feel that we need to connect 2 systems. On one side, we have the energy and the reliability, power reliability data. The other side, we have billing data, we have billed energy and collections, etc. So we need to connect these 2 systems and have better distribution management system, create a layer about that and move forward. And one more issue I would like to point out, which we are facing, is the interoperability issue. Everybody facing the same issue. So the 10-year support is going to be a challenge, and DISCOM feels very apprehensive whether the TKC or the vendor will be able to support. So unless and until interoperability issues are solved at this moment, or maybe within a year, and we are going to be in a very tough situation to maintain this, because we have started an initiative. It needs to be maintained and carried on.
You're saying that interoperability is an issue and you are worried about that. Now, I'm just trying to understand why you think so. Because there are interoperable solutions available. It is up to the DISCOMs that how they want their solution to be. Now, if you're talking about in your hidden system, any kind of meters will get integrated of any make, of any technology, whether it's RF or NB-IoT or cellular. These are all there now. Options are all there. Similarly, this hidden system can be integrated to any MDM system. The options are there. It's up to the DISCOMs. Rather, I find DISCOMs need to decide that what kind of things they want, and they have to come out with the specifications so that they select the way they want. But it's up to you whether you would like to be hostage or not. That is the point. Yeah.
The point is that nobody had the experience and the visualization that it will end up like this, and we will be in a situation like this. I will quote the example of KPDCL, and we have 2 HES systems currently, and there is a single MDM system. So because of some issues between the 2 HES vendors, so we are suffering because one HES is not integrated currently with the MDM system. So the other problem is that some of the meter manufacturers, I will not name, that they have closed their operations in India. So again, this will be a problem, and we need to have some mechanism actually for to ensure that interoperability gives us that complete 100% smart meter coverage and no issues with regard to replacement of meters.
So thank you, sir. It was a huge learning for me also. So if any question to the panelists, so maybe 1 or 2 questions we can take just before the opening of the lunch. So So we should not be hindering that. So thank you very much, and it was a wonderful session and for learning, a huge learning for us. And we believe that smart meter is going to be a success in the country, and the issues related to the technology, so they are going to be resolved definitely in time to come. And interoperability and scalability, so these are the two issues which are kind of apprehension today in the discoms. So that are also going to be resolved maybe within a year or kind of thing. Thank you very much.